Hey Brownsville, welcome back to another episode of Brownsville at Large. I'm your host, Tino Villarreal Jr., and as always, thank you for spending time with us. Today, we're talking about one of the most exciting transformations happening in our city. For many years, Brownsville was a place that people traveled through. Today, we're becoming a place where people choose to visit, invest, build businesses, and create their future. And that transformation is not happening by accident. It's happening because our history, our culture, our food, our natural beauty, our entrepreneurial spirit, and our strategic location with the Port International Airport are now more significant than ever. But I think it's important that our residents understand something. This conversation today is about more than just our tourism. Tourism is economic development. When a visitor comes to Brownsville, they just don't take a picture and leave. They stay in our hotels, they eat at our restaurants, they shop at our local businesses, they purchase fuel, attend our events, use local transportation, and every time one of those dollars circulates throughout our local economy, it benefits us. The numbers will tell the story. Brownsville now welcomes more than 10 million visitors annually. Visitors have generated $2.3 million in hotel occupancy tax revenue. These are dollars generally generated by people who do not live in Brownsville. They're outside dollars investing in our community and helping us to attract more visitors, more events, and more opportunities. Perhaps the strongest sign of confidence in Brownsville's future is the private investment we're seeing. Today, we have nearly 950 additional hotel rooms, different stages of construction, planning, and proposal. But the hotels, they're coming. And those are $1 million of investment that people have invested now today in Brownsville. They have analyzed business travel, construction activities, sports tourism, conferences, and the growth of the commercial space economy. This is a major vote of confidence in our city. But our responsibility as leaders isn't to celebrate it. Our responsibility is to ensure that every visitor, every hotel, and every dollar translates into better opportunities for our Brownsville families. And that's exactly what we're going to discuss today. Joining me today is someone helping lead that effort. Nathan Burkhart serves as the director of the City of Brownsville's Convention Visitors Bureau and the Office of Space Commerce. Nathan brings over a decade of experience in economic development, entrepreneurship, marketing, and innovation. Many of you know him from his previous work at BCIC, where he helped strengthen our startup ecosystem, support local entrepreneurs. Today, he is here to tell Brownsville's story to the world and ensure that our city's positioned to benefit from tourism, investment, and the emerging space economy. Nathan, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
So let me tell you how this is going to go. First and foremost, welcome to the set. This is season 2 of Brownsville at Large. We've been filming for the majority of the year. Been waiting to have you to talk about tourism, to talk about hotel occupancy tax, and so many fun things. You also have the Office of Space Commerce under kind of your department. So we're going to dive into all these things. But before we do that, I've created a little fun 21 questions with Tino just to kind of break the ice, get you comfortable. This is just a conversation between me and you. You obviously have the camera where you can address the audience should you want to address them directly. But let's just start to get to know Nathan Burkhart a little bit more. So this is rapid fire, first thing that comes to mind. And if you don't want to answer it, that's fine. I'll just move on to the next one.
Sounds great.
Okay, perfect. What's your go-to coffee order?
Tonic espresso from Warbler.
Okay. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Early bird.
Favorite place to eat in Brownsville?
This is controversial here.
First thing that comes to
probably
mind.
Vermilion. Yeah.
Vermilion?
Vermilion.
Okay. Favorite taco spot?
Even more controversial. Probably Shekos.
Beach day or downtown evening in Brownsville?
Downtown evening.
What is one hidden gem in Brownsville that you know about that everyone should experience?
Sable Palms, because a lot of people from Brownsville haven't experienced it.
Favorite Brownsville event or tradition?
Sombrero Festival.
Okay, so this is going to be controversial for you. Space launch or Charo Days?
That's tough. We're probably gonna have a lot more space launches than we do chowder days once a year. So chowder days.
What was your first job?
Selling shoes for Foot Locker at Sunrise Mall when I was 16.
What's the greatest leadership lesson you've learned so far?
Really kind of navigating egos, emotional intelligence, and my favorite line that somebody told me: "Trust but verify."
What motivates you most? Ideas, people, or impact?
People.
What's something people would be surprised to learn about Nathan Burkhart?
I was formerly a judge for the James Beard Foundation at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have a hidden talent?
I like to draw and paint, actually. Yeah.
What's your favorite part of your work?
Impact, making this a community that my childhood best friends would want to move back to, and a community where my two girls can grow up in and appreciate more than I did when I was growing up here.
What's the biggest challenge people never see behind the scenes?
The amount of bureaucratic red tape that we're all trying to jump for all of you. Government looks like it runs slow, but in reality, it's moving at the pace of business. It's just we have our own hoops to jump through as well.
If you only had one day to show a visitor around Brownsville, where would you take them?
I take them probably all around downtown, kind of our hidden tourism gems like Sable Palms. I'd take them out to SpaceX, and if possible, we'd finish with a taco tour in Matamoros.
Okay. What do you think is one thing Brownsville does better than almost anyone else?
Our food and our hospitality.
What's one skill every entrepreneur must have?
They really need to get better at marketing and financial projections.
What keeps you grounded?
Being able to ride my bike around our trails as well as hang out with my girls on weekends.
What excites you most about Brownsville in the next 10 years?
Next 10 years is the unprecedented growth and new prosperity that we'll be bringing to town, and new experiences that we'll all be able to share in.
Finish the sentence. Brownsville is
Booming.
perfect. That's 21 questions. That was pretty good. That was
Thank you.
rapid fire with Nathan Burkhart. Now we're going to dive in with Nathan here and just to talk about a little bit of the Convention Visitors Bureau. One of the biggest misconceptions I think people have when they hear the word Convention and Visitors Bureau, they think of advertisement, brochures, and just simply bringing tourism into town. The reality is that it's much bigger than that. It's economic strategy, it's job creation, it's supporting local businesses, it's bringing outside dollars into Brownsville. And for residents who don't understand the full scope of the CVB and the Office of Space Commerce, can you explain to everyone what your team does every day and why this work matters for our entire community?
Yeah. So the Convention and Visitors Bureau is organization within the city of Brownsville dedicated to placemaking and tourism strategies. We are funded entirely by a collection of HOT funds, which stands for Hotel Occupancy Tax. I won't get into the semantics of it because it could be boring, but essentially we raise a few $1,000,000 that is given to our organization and others to help promote tourism in the city, bring in conferences from the outside, work with organizations that have already selected Brownsville for one reason or another to host their conference and ensure that everything's streamlined for them. But the CVB's grown massively under its leadership at the city of Brownsville. So aside from just focusing on hotel development and events and tourism, we also do the Office of Space Commerce. We have the Sports Commission, the Film Commission as well, and now most recently retail development. So it's a full in-house. What I like to say is the third leg of an economic development tripod with our two independent EDCs.
I've always believed that Brownsville has never lacked great stories and a great story. The challenge has never been whether we have something worth experiencing. The challenge has always been to make sure that the rest of the world knows this story. Our history, culture, food, wildlife, binational identity, downtown, the proximity we have to the island, our port, airport, and now our role in shaping the future of commercial space. How do we take those assets and create a brand that makes people choose Brownsville?
It's tough because you don't want to focus entirely on one end, but I think geographically, there's no better city that's been prepared for everything that's going on. Geographically, we are the southernmost tip of the United States. We have the best birding. We have some of the most pristine coastline. So, kind of ecotourism is a check. When it comes to food, we are the first James Beard Foundation winner was here in Brownsville, Texas, at Armando Vera out in Southmost. And since then, we've had multiple finalists and semifinalists enter and win competitions. So we've got food as a check, right? Economic development. We have this beautiful historic downtown, a storied past dating back all the way to the start of the Civil War, as well as our connection to Mexico with our downtown being on the banks of the river. So we have entrepreneurship and ecosystem and downtown revitalization as a check as well. And then lastly, we have commercial industries. SpaceX is here. We're looking at some very exciting projects out on the port, over at our airport as well. And our EDCs are being able to recruit these high-end manufacturers. So opportunity is there as well. And lastly, we also have a great education system here in the Rio Grande Valley with UTRGV, and we also have sports. Just so much. We have so much talent here. So kind of sports and leisure is a check. So it's hard to pinhole Brownsville as like what's our niche. Our niche is really anything and everything you could ever want or dream of is possible here. And I feel like this is now the time where not just Brownsville, but the entire Rio Grande Valley is really on this. In this moment, there's pride that wasn't there before. There's opportunity that wasn't there before, and Brownsville is at the head of the race of all the other cities.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. This is the most interesting time. I tell people all the time, this is the most interesting time to just be in Brownsville, live in Brownsville, work in Brownsville. For me to be a public elected official, this is the most interesting time to sit in a seat in the commission because of so much that's going on. And for me, one of the clearest indicators that we have that Brownsville is booming, as you said earlier, is when private investors put their money on the line, their own money. So developers don't invest tens of millions of dollars based on hope. They study occupancy rates, they analyze trends, they look at business travel, major construction projects, sports tourism, conventions, everything that falls kind of under your umbrella. Today, Brownsville has nearly 950 new hotel rooms in various stages of development. That includes the new Embassy Suites that you can talk to us about, Candlewood Suites, Hyatt Studios, Courtyard Marriott, Spring Hill Suites, Studio Res by Marriott, Live Smart Studios by Hilton, and True by Hilton. Talk to us about the hotel, kind of like how that's booming right now, and what do you think gives those investors the confidence to be just building hotels left and right, and what is that going to do to impact us? I know that's a loaded question, but just think from the hotel standpoint so that the viewers who don't understand kind of how even the hot tax works, take your time. I mean, this is an informational podcast so that the viewers can understand what falls under the CVB and how we utilize hot tax dollars.
Yeah, so I'll start with kind of what the hotels are seeing and how we're going to be utilizing that additional hotel funding. But I always liken it to like an early precursor into the direction that a community is going into. So if you look at Austin, maybe like circa 2005, 2010, when you saw all these new buildings coming into downtown, all this new development, F1 was being like kind of whispered around as this potential. The hotels came first, the retail and sports came slowly after. Here we are in Brownsville, and we're seeing this influx of hotels come in, and they're kind of the signifier of what's to come with further kind of first to market retail, further development on the sports side. And the additional rooms, that's going to be additional hot revenue that's going to go towards our organization and others to continue to promote those placemaking and tourism strategies here locally. I should have said this earlier. We collect somewhere around $2.3 million in hot. And that's not including our short-term rentals. There's an enormous Airbnb market out here in Brownsville. It's become a not so much of a recruitment drive, but an investment angle for a lot of folks looking at Brownsville as a place to invest or put their money into. So the short term rental market is also another good precursor as to all of the growth that's coming in our way into Brownsville. But we take those hot funds and we reinvest it into a few legacy organizations on the tourism side, but also with some bespoke keystone events citywide, including our Birding Fest, Space Fest, the Glacico for the Chowder Days exhibit. It's just it's a wonderful thing to kind of start to see to fruition, but more importantly, it validates what we have been trying to tell people forever: is that this is a place of opportunity. And with the new businesses that are coming into town, with the developments of SpaceX and over at the port of Brownsville, we're going to need more housing. We're also going to need more hotels. We're going to need more retail development. It's just going to be a very exciting time for Brownsville in the next 15 to 20 years.
Well, I think, one of the most understood subjects in local government is, why does a city spend money promoting tourism? I think the answer is simple, right? Visitors are helping invest in Brownsville. Every time somebody comes into one of our hotels, they pay the hotel occupancy tax. That's not a property tax increase on Brownsville homeowners. By law, these dollars are restricted to tourism related purposes that promote our city and increase those overnight stays. It's like that vicious cycle, right? You want tourism, pays for more tourism. And the more people and heads in beds, the more money that we have to promote and bring conventions and bring people down here. And all of that comes from money that is not here, right? It supports our arts, culture, everything you just said, enhances visitor experience. And so that cycle is important. How does your team decide how these dollars are invested, and how do you measure the return on investment for Brownsville?
Yeah, so I'll go with how we decide, and then I'm really excited about the new data and software that we have to really make some of the best, most informed decisions as a city that I think makes Brownsville stand out amongst everyone in the state, even including our the cities in the Texas Triangle. But as I mentioned, we get millions of dollars in from our hot revenue, which, like you had said, is a visitor tax, right? These are additional funds that go to assist the quality of life of our community that don't come from our community. This is the exact type of money that we want: outside investment, outside dollars coming into our community. Our organization holds a few workshops to promote what is our hot tax grant cycle, of which they will provide us with some feedback, and then those organizations will be selected. They usually get about somewhere around 50% of the entire allotment collected from HOT. The remaining 50% go into the operations of our organization. They also pay for some of the software that we use to ensure that the events, whether they be Chowder Days or Sombrero Fest, or even legacy institutions like our Gladys Porter Zoo or the Historical Association, we are a very data-driven organization that can get to the most granular of information amongst four different types of software. So we have Placer AI, we have Datafy, we have AirDNA, and we also have CoStar. I can go into the individual reasons why we have each one, but essentially I can answer almost any question related to an event or a moment in the city of Brownsville, and figure out what we could do better, or what worked in terms of how the event went, or recruitment for maybe potential sales of tickets. We will be utilizing that data significantly on all of those applications I had mentioned earlier.
So for the common viewer here that doesn't understand, so basically anytime there's an event, with the software you have, you can even pinpoint through people's cell phone, like, where they're coming from, if they're local, if they drove just from McAllen, or they're here from anywhere part of the world, in Mexico, any part of the United States. Is that's
Yep.
like one of the metrics, right?
Yes.
With hotels, you can also know where they're coming from when they make their reservation and when they make their stay here in Brownsville.
Yeah. So everything from, we can now actually, for the first time, and we've been trying to do this for like a decade, we can collect information on international visitors. I can tell you exactly how much they spend, or how much someone from New York spent, the dwell time at a specific event, or kind of the rate of who's staying at hotels and for how long and why. We can get all of that data for anyone who needs it. It's also important when it comes into the retail recruitment end of things because we can actually show how our, for the first time ever, our sales tax base is at a really promising, great trajectory that's only going to continue as developments occur again over at SpaceX, the port, and even within our own downtown.
So off the top of your head, who are the biggest, like where do most of our tourists come from?
Well, in terms of like our legacy organizations, the Gladys Porter Zoo is probably our number one tourist destination locally in the state. Houston, Texas is actually one of the biggest markets to come visit Brownsville, along with all the other cities you would think of. Internationally, though, we get a lot of folks from the Oklahoma, Louisiana area, and that's mostly for the energy sector. That's actually a recent trend. But California, Florida, and New York are our top markets out of state. And internationally, of course, Tamaulipas, Nuevo León are our biggest markets. And we get those snowbirds that come in from Canada as well as Chicago and Minneapolis. So there's about 4 or 5 different seasons, but those are the areas that we've been able to pinpoint, and we can actually deduce how much of an economic impact each group gives.
And yeah, so you're also able to measure, how much each person spends on average while they're visiting Brownsville.
Yeah. I can tell you someone from New York spends about $30 more than say someone from Los Angeles. I can tell you how many each people from Florida spend, how much our snowbirds are spending up when they come down from Chicago or Minneapolis. We are such a data-driven, heavy organization because communities like ours and throughout the Rio Grande Valley, we're resource strapped. So we really need to be smart in how we spend our money. But more importantly, I want the city of Brownsville to be able to go to the community at the end of the day and say that we made the best fiduciary decision in how we spend our hot funds.
That's fantastic for me to hear because anyone wants to always look at how we spend tax dollars and are we doing the right thing? Are we making the right decisions? And I think through all that software that hopefully people now know that we have and that we are taking those into high consideration every time we make a decision. For the people who want to apply for the hot tax, when is that window open? When can people start applying to access hot tax dollars if for the application process?
Applications are open from now until mid-July. We've had 2 workshops already for the community, but we're also doing one-on-one sit-downs with anybody who's interested. This is open to both those legacy museums and organizations we all are aware of, but also those that may have a really smart idea or want to host a big conference or maybe a 2 or 3 day concert series. We're here to help you. We're not here to run your event. We're not here to kind of find sponsors for you because that sometimes is asked of us. But what we will do is we can provide you with some hot funds. We can provide you with the assistance of the city and what the city needs to take care of. But more importantly, we have all of that data I just mentioned to help you recruit for your event and also follow up and make sure that that event was as fruitful as you'd hoped.
I'm going to switch the conversation more to space commerce.
Yeah.
So very few cities in the world can say that they're connected to one of the most important commercial space ecosystems in the planet. But our global reach is become kind of very niche, meaning we are one of the few places in the entire world that has that connection to space right now. It used to be Houston, that was one of the few. Now we're in that conversation. Our goal can't just be to watch growth happening around us, right? We want to have our students have the opportunity to access new careers. We want entrepreneurs to build companies around it, and we want our hotels, restaurants, and local businesses to benefit from this. So how do you, in the Office of Space Commerce, ensure that Brownsville is not just next to opportunity, but we're participating in this space race?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a group effort, a concentrated effort, but a group effort. But before I get into that, I'd like to kind of do a little side story about Brownsville's place in like the space ecosystem of the world. Back in the 50s, 60s, the United States federal government was actually looking for an area to launch rockets, and they kind of whittled it down to a few locations, Boca Chica Beach being one, as well as the Cape Canaveral out in Florida. Boca Chica's beach's name is actually Copernic's Shores, which is named after an astronomer, Copernicus, which is kind of ironic. But they had briefly renamed it to Kennedy Shores to try to lure JFK in selecting our location for a launch as opposed to Cape Canaveral. Well, on the public side, Cape Canaveral clearly won out. But later on, 67 years later, on the private side, Brownsville and Boca Chica Beach ends up winning out with the construction of Starbase. So it's kind of like a circle story there with how we've always had this minor presence in space, but it's changing now rapidly. The Office of Space Commerce's goal is much more on the what most people look at as like a boring bureaucratic side, but is actually one of the most important pillars as we're working with Department of War, with NASA, with other federal agencies, as well as Latin American space organizations, to ensure that Brownsville's prominence continues, as well as matches the same growth that's going on with what's happening at Starbase.
Wow. So the new Embassy Suites, for example, where they're going to have a rooftop to watch launches. I mean, that link of Brownsville participating in this, I think, is the most important. How do we get those people to come over and eat and dine and shop? And I think you talked about all letting people know that we have James Beard award finalists and award recipients here, and that we have actually very good restaurants, great hospitality. The future of Brownsville obviously is. I mean, we can't even. I can't. Someone asked me the other day, in 10 years, what is Brownsville going to look like? I have no idea, because in 2016, I couldn't tell you that Brownsville would look the way it does today.
Yeah.
So it's like everything's happening so fast. But when I look back at everything and I look at kind of the just from the tourist side, you have more than 10 million visitors, right? Is that a year?
A year.
Right? Millions of dollars in the hot tax, and it keeps going up and up. Nearly 1,000 new hotel rooms that we just talked about, a growing visitor economy, stronger sports tourism market. I know that we've been talking to USL and to creating the sports commission, new restaurants, new businesses popping up left and right there in the Sable. For me, that's kind of like the new. There's a lot of restaurants popping up everywhere, but that's for me like, whoa! I didn't know that there was that bagel shop and Santo Pez, and there's a new Italian restaurant coming online. So it's clear that Brownsville is entering this new chapter, right? What gives you the most confidence as our director of the CVB that Brownsville is ready for what's coming?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I liked your response about how like 10 years ago you didn't know where we'd be, in 2016. 10 years ago, you wouldn't even able to go to like UTRGV. You wouldn't have been able to go to UTRGV, this kind of Carnegie Tier 2 research university, get a degree in engineering, and then go work for the largest OEM in the entire world and never have to leave the 4-county region of the Rio Grande Valley. So that really quick trajectory, put that on steroids just for an entire city, is what we've really been having to work with. But kind of to circle back as to like where we see ourselves as a community, both on the tourism and kind of space and opportunity side, you're going to see a city that continues to invest in placemaking and quality of life. We're so focused on everyone in general is just so focused on economic development wins and kind of nabbing that next big company, which is something that Brownsville does great at. But Brownsville is also focused on ensuring that we have really great hike and bike trails, beautiful parks, a city of parks, a wonderful sports park, that we're nurturing the soccer talent that we have through USL, that we're revitalizing our downtown, but we're taking a look at, Austin and Houston, who rapidly gentrified and had issues, and kind of taking those lessons and from the start immediately building in equitable housing in our downtown with the El Jardín project, with the Samano Project at CDCB, two of which are amazing organizations also in their own right. But on top of all of that, too, you have this growth in the space sector and ensuring that Brownsville continues to dominate and carve itself out in this new fashion of private space, but also defense logistics with everything that's going on in the port. So it's in 10 years, I think we're going to be kind of scratching our heads at how did we get here so fast, and how did we also ensure that we did everything the right way, which again is I'm so proud of everyone from those different organizations and the city itself for taking lessons and being so innovative and forward thinking. It's not every day that a CVB like ours, which is relatively small, I mean, those 1,000 room nights that we're bringing on board really finally puts us on par, shoulder to shoulder with some other cities in the valley that are much smaller than our own community. With us as small as we are, to invest so heavily in those software and that data that I had mentioned, so that we're always consistently making these right decisions. People are afraid of growth and change. People are afraid of space. People are afraid of everything going on at the port. Know that the city understands that and is taking those necessary steps to ensure that everything is going on the right path.
Any I don't know, any sneak peek things that you can say that you could share with the audience of what's to come, whether it's a new hotel, whether it's anything that you're allowed to divulge to the audience?
Well, we had some really great meetings last week in Washington, D.C., both with NASA and a few other federal departments, which you will see kind of news coming from the next 2 to 3 months. As well as everything happening at our Brownsville Sports Park. It's a hidden gem up right there on the north end of the city, which is soon to be kind of the midtown area of our community. But we're expecting a pretty significant announcement there in the coming months. But more importantly, I think we're going to see this marriage of both opportunity but commitment to the existing community that Brownsville is going to continue to succeed in.
Great. Well, I think that wraps it up for my questions. Is there anything that I did not touch upon that you wanted to kind of let the viewers know? Anything that I did not ask you?
We spoke so much about the CVB and the Office of Space Commerce. We briefly touched on Sports Commission, but know that Brownsville's also become this hotspot for film. When I was over at the EDC, we would always kind of like bemoan, like, oh, there's just so many cool shots to film at, and why don't we have this film community here? And the last 7 months, the Film Commission has really done a full 180 and is extremely active in the community. And really, that Film Commission in Brownsville represents all 4 counties in the Rio Grande Valley, because there is no other film commission down here. We're one of, I think, 7 or 9 from the state officially. And if you're watching, and I say this right now because FIFA's going on, there's a Bank of America commercial that was shot in Brownsville for FIFA. So it kind of shows, again, how dominant we are in the sport of soccer, but also how you can film a commercial that is part of a 3-part series, the first of which is with David Beckham. You can do all that here in Brownsville. So we're not, Taylor Sheridan's not visiting us yet, but I say yet because I'm almost certain that a community like ours will be able to showcase itself through the film side very, very soon.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you brought that up. I know that we also had Robert Duvall in town filming years ago, and hopefully we can get that going. But that's anything else?
You'll probably see a few more sightseeings of celebrities unrelated to film, just given the launch cadence and activity going on at Starbase. There's just a lot of interesting folks that you would never have thought were in Brownsville for 1 or 2 nights.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, Nathan, for coming on the show. I think that's just information that's important for all of our viewers to get to know our CVB a little bit better, get to know the Office of Space Commerce, the Film Commission. There's so much happening right now that's under kind of your umbrella that you oversee. Couldn't be happier to have you there. I know that you spent a great time here at BCIC, and like you said, I think having you in that position, connecting the type A and the type B, and kind of bringing them together, and having you as the anchor, doing that from the city, couldn't make me happier as a commissioner. So thank you for staying and believing in Brownsville. Thank you for your time, talent, and your skills that you provide for us. And more importantly, the time here at Brownsville at Large. I mean, that's going to wrap up our show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Catch us on the next show. That was Nathan Burkhart here at Brownsville at Large, and we'll see you next time.
Brownsville at Large, voices that shine, telling our stories one episode at a time.